Okay, so uh, I've been watching a lot of horror recently because a lot of horror movies have been coming out, and most recent one I saw was MaXXXine, which I guess is part of a trilogy um, with X and Pearl, which both came out in 2022, and then MaXXXine is like the end. And so Pearl, I think, came out second, but technically it's the prequel. So I watched Pearl in preparation, and then I started watching X, but I had to go to the library to get a copy of the movie. And I don't know, the DVD was buggy, and I didn't like the quality. So I ended up just reading the summary of what happened on Wikipedia. I think I gave up like 30 minutes in. I don't know. I gave up quickly because the DVD wasn't working. Anyway, so, a brief summary of those movies is that, like, X is about a group of porn stars. Oh, this is not a video for kids, is it? It's about a group of porn stars who, like, go to film a adult film on, like, a farm in Texas. And there are these two old people who own the farm, and then the old people try to murder the whole film crew. So there's three girls and three guys. And, the director is dating Maxine, who's the girl in the next film. And Maxine is the only survivor. And the two old people who are trying to kill everyone are Howard and Pearl. And Pearl is like Maxine's doppelganger. So the movie Pearl is about like 70 years before, when Pearl was like a young girl, and all of them are played by Mia Goth. So she's like a young girl who's also like a sadistic killer, and all that Pearl wants is to be a star. And then Maxine is her doppelganger, and she manages to get away in X, and she also wants to be a star. So Maxine takes place, like, I guess a few months later, and Maxine's living in LA, and she's trying to become an actor. So she has an agent, and the premise of the movie is that she gets the opportunity to be in a horror movie that's not porn, so it's going to be like her big break. And but it's also at the same time the Night Stalker is like in LA and killing people. And if we're being honest, I should have researched more about the Night Stalker before this, but I didn't feel like it, and I forgot to. So but I do vaguely remember things about him. So my review of the movie, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It wasn't that scary. It felt more like a thriller than a horror film. It was definitely exciting. I really liked Maxine as a character. That girl was on top of it. She knew what she was doing. She felt like an actual woman. Like, I feel like when you watch movies, the main girl, if it's like a horror movie, is always like, I'm really good at screaming, and I'm just gonna scream and run away in every scenario. And clearly, like, she had been through it in the previous movie. Like, she had already survived serial killers. So in this movie, she feels like a little bit more of a, mind my language, a badass. So I enjoyed that aspect. I thought that the other characters were pretty good until they die. And there were also like two cop characters that were really annoying, but I guess that's how they were supposed to be. I really liked the 80s vibe of the film. It was fun, and I don't really care too much about, like, if the plot made sense, you know? I was entertained the whole time, so I'm not complaining. And, that's all I can ask for. If I was entertained, then it's worth my money. So anyway, my review, overall, I liked it. I thought it was good. Still very violent, and I'm not as into violent stuff, obviously, even though I've been seeing so much horror. So it was pretty violent. And yeah, that's my like overall review. And then to go into the summary where I spoil everything, what do I feel like spoiling? Oh yeah, so I was able to guess the big plot twist pretty easily, because I guess in X, it's revealed that Maxine's dad is like a preacher or a pastor for some like evangelical Baptist movement, whatever. And so like the whole movie, they show like some dude in like a black coat stalking Maxine Oh, and yeah, okay, so they show a dude in a black coat stalking Maxine, and he's got like these black leather gloves, and he's being like generally creepy. And then there's Kevin Bacon, and he was hired to find Maxine, and she doesn't know who hired him. So I guessed pretty quickly that the dude in the black coat was her dad, because like they keep talking about the Night Stalker, and I'm like, yeah, like it could be the Night Stalker, but it feels like they're mentioning the Night Stalker too much for it to actually be the Night Stalker. And the police mention that like the people around Maxine have been getting killed, like her friends and her coworkers and stuff have got murdered, and the police were like, that's interesting, but the marks of how they were murdered don't line up exactly with the Night Stalker. So you're like, okay, well, whoever is doing this isn't the Night Stalker. And so I correctly guessed that it was her dad. Whatever. And also the person who was stalking her was like sending her like videos of herself, and it's like, oh yeah, that's her dad. Like, I don't know if the Night Stalker would care enough to actually like personally research all of that crap. Also, we need to stop giving serial killers cool names. It's a shame. Stop doing that. Start giving them bad names. Then people will stop serial killing, except they won't. Okay, so yeah, basically I really liked Maxine because she was very like strong. Like there's one scene where she's walking home or something and turns down an alley, and somebody like locks the gate in the alley, so she's stuck, but there's like a dude who's been following her. And so he's like approaching her, and he takes out a knife, and he's like, making vague threats. And she's like, trying to get out. And then as he approaches her, she turns around and she's got a gun, and she's like, try me. And I was like, yes, that's what women do. So that part appreciated. I like a main character in a scary movie who isn't like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I have nothing. She had that gun on her the whole movie, and I respect her for it. And like a bunch of other scenes where I think you kind of expect her to be really weak or feel really helpless, and she's just like, nope, not me. I have been through too much crap. Like when Kevin Bacon, the guy who's hired to find her, he keeps like following her and annoying her and threatening her, and then she like calls her agent, and they set up a trap to kidnap him, and then they just like crush him alive in a car yard. I got a bug. And it's like, ethically that was really wrong of you, but also mad respect for being on top of your crap. Yeah, the rest of the movie, pretty good. The movie ends with her finding out that her dad like recruited a bunch of other people in his church to start killing random like sex workers and stuff, and then like marking them with satanic symbols, so that, I don't know, so that LA would be like, wow, devil worship is bad. And he like tries to kill so the dad tries to kill Maxine and make like a movie out of it, so that people can learn to not become porn stars or something. I don't know. It was a weird plan. And then like the cops find him, and he kills the cops, and then Maxine ends up killing her dad, and then she becomes a really big movie star at the end of the film, because she's got that X Factor reference to the first film. And yeah, this has been a really bad summary because honestly I don't remember much. Was this the movie that I saw most recently? Yes. Is my memory terrible? Also yes. I honestly can't even remember what I've done the last couple of days, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think that the movie itself, you could watch on its, maybe, no, I think that you should watch the trilogy. I don't know how necessary it is to watch Pearl, because that movie is kind of like, it's not as necessary to understand what's happening in X. But I think that if you watch X before you watch Maxine, it makes it a lot easier to understand and also figure out the plot twists. Yeah, so overall, pretty good movie. I say that about every movie. Maybe I need to be more critical. I am pretty critical though. But it was enjoyable. If you like thriller slasher films, I would go for it. If you don't like violence, don't watch it. If you don't like devil worship, go to church and probably don't watch this movie. It's about it. It's that simple. But yeah. All right, Megan, I hope you make it back to Pennsylvania soon because you've been driving all day. And Mom, love you. Yeah. Can't wait for the next review.